Well, Josh, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us today. I've had a chance to sit down and watch Crow Valley, and mate, I am so impressed with what you've been able to do. Congratulations.
Thanks, Steve. That's nice of you to say. I really appreciate it.
So, mate, tell us a little bit about where the idea first came about for the film.
So it was really kind of a very strategic idea in that I wanted to make a feature film and had very little kind of in the way of resources. So it was about shooting something that was really contained, had a very small cast, and was something that was really doable on a really small scale. So hence the idea of, something in a single location using basically two people for the majority of the shoot and kind of constructing a story that way. Obviously, as you write the story, you're kind of dipping into themes and trying to really make it more cinematic and as rich as possible. So it started off strategic, but then it kind of changed a little into more of, I guess, a character piece about guilt and remorse and how people deal with that type of thing as well. So it was started off strategic and then became a little more personal and thematic.
Yeah, there's a real personal feel to the film, but there's also like those multi-layers there in the plot as well. So tell us a little bit about the script development. Did you go through a few drafts before you were happy with what you had?
Yeah, absolutely. So it took quite a while to write. I took my time because I knew that obviously if you have a decent script, you've got more of a chance to make something that's watchable. So I spent close to nearly, I reckon, a year doing maybe 3 drafts kind of, but with what they call page 1 rewrites, which is basically starting again. So I had the initial idea and it was slightly different. It was kind of more simple and didn't kind of develop her character that much. And then I had some kind of feedback from a couple of friends on that one, and then that propelled me into doing the next 2 drafts. And so it was really, the story didn't change a great deal, but the characters and their kind of backstory and how it related to the movie itself really developed throughout that writing process.
Yeah. Now, you shot this real guerrilla style using friends and family to help you out with the crew. What was that like, bringing together your friends and family to work on a project like this, that such an ambitious project?
It was fun. It was cool because you're always working with people who you really, really like. So it was. Having said that, it was really kind of challenging at stages because basically we didn't have a crew. So it was that Robert Rodriguez idea of just rebel without a crew, and we had the camera, so I had plenty of time, but it was just really there was basically no one around for most of the time. I had our DP, Adrian Olsen, was the huge part of it. Without him and his input, it just wouldn't have been made. And obviously Nicole Freeman was a huge kind of part of it as well. So it was us 3 bashing away most of the time. And then every now and then we might have a bigger day that was more involved and we'd get some help and that type of thing. So it was very small scale, but it was great in that it shows what you can achieve if you're strategic about it and you think about it and use what you have, get as much out of the few resources you do have. You can, get something pretty decent in the end.
Yeah, now I'm going to ask you a little bit about Nicole later on, but for the young filmmakers that are listening to the show, what was the biggest challenge that you faced with the shoot?
The biggest challenge would be the length of time it took, because we shot on weekends. So it was kind of like the biggest challenge, but also an advantage in a way. So it was challenging because there was obviously things to do with continuity that were really hard to maintain over the journey, but Nicole was really great at continuity and she just had an eye for that all the time, so she was all over it. But at the same time, even though that was a big challenge, it was also an advantage because we had time. If we shot a scene that we didn't like, and then we edited it together and thought, oh my God, that's terrible. We had time. There was no deadline. So we just thought, okay, well, we'll either get rid of it or we'll rewrite it and we'll shoot it again. So we had time to make mistakes, which was really, really great because you're learning the whole way. But features are quite different to shorts in that shorts you can have an idea, you can execute that idea, maybe shoot it in 2 days, and then you're done.
Yep.
With features, it's kind of this. It's more a marathon as opposed to like a sprint, and you're dealing with a lot of story issues. Whereas with perhaps a short, you can have one single idea, and that works. With features, you tend to really, and you learn this as you do it because this is my first feature, and obviously learning a lot along the way. But you really learn how important story is, and
Yep.
being able to maintain that interest throughout an extended period and linking all your scenes together so it has some type of cohesiveness, and you're telling a story throughout the hour and a half runtime. So yeah, lots to learn, but it was a fantastic experience.
And you shot around your local area as well. You shot in Aireys Inlet, Anglesea, the Otways, and Torquay. What kind of advantage did that give you, being able to shoot in an area that's local to you rather than having to shoot in another country or another state that you don't know anything about?
I guess that was one of the things that made it easy for us, was that I knew the places we were heading towards, and they're so close. So if I had a bit of time, I'd go out, at the back of Aireys and find a good spot that we could shoot perhaps a scene on the side of the road or that type of thing. So it just made all those things like location scouting, finding places, shoot a lot easier. And when you've got so few people and so few resources, the more things you can make that are easier throughout the process, the better off you are probably, because then you can focus on the things that will value add to the movie, like story and production value on the shoot days and that type of thing. So I think it just made it a lot easier. But also, when I was writing as well, I was kind of writing with this area in mind, because scale is really hard with these contained kind of horror thrillers. But if you shoot and take advantage of, like, perhaps natural vistas or mountains in the area, or what we used was some great locations in the Otways, you get that scale for free. So that's part of the reason why he was a mountain biker through the story, was I could get that scale and that production value basically for free, because you head out in the mountains and, there it is, that scale. So I think for a while the idea was that he was going to be a mountain climber of some description, but then that didn't kind of work out, and yeah, he ended up being a mountain biker.
Yeah.
Which was good.
Now, you mentioned Nicole Freeman as well before. Now, she has got an amazing resume with her acting. Tell us a little bit about how you and Nicole came to work together and what she was like to work with.
So she was in a short movie that we did a year or two before we started on Crow Valley, and she's awesome, Nicole. She's such a kind of get up and go, let's do it type of person. She's really positive, and all those kind of personality traits really help when you're doing something like this as well, because it's arduous, it's tiring, it's challenging, and you need people who will keep bashing away at it with you. And she was, that type of person. And on top of that, she's a great actress, and she does a fantastic, kind of job with the role. But even throughout, like, she helped co-produce it, and she was, when we were shooting, she was just hands-on, and any job that was needing done, she'd just get in there and do it. So she was awesome and fantastic, and also just a nice person to hang out with too, because you're spending so much time with people when you do this. That's part of it. You want to be able to be with people who are nice, because filmmaking, in a way, I think people see the film and you know, that's almost like the end product of the actual experience you have when you're making it. It's quite that end film and then the experience you have. And the experience you have is defined by really who you work with and that experience of bringing these teams together and working with other people to get it all happening. So she was awesome, yeah.
Definitely. Now, this has been such a personal project for you, and it's a project that you're obviously passionate about. And then we've seen the huge payoff, opening at Monsterfest, getting distributors involved with the film to be able to release it overseas. What has that all meant to you? Because it must be something that you're so proud of that's happened.
I think I was really, when we secured the US and UK deal, I was really happy for everyone involved in the movie because so many people had put in their time and just, you know, given their free time to help out, and a lot of people did it for free and all those types of things. So it was like a bit of a reward for all, you know, all the people who helped out, because it was something tangible at the end of the day. Like, we made something and people got to be able to see it, and that was the real reward. So I think from that point of view, it was really great. But also, I think, legitimised the movie as well. It's hard, like, it's really hard to score distribution, as particularly in, you know, with a movie that cost so little and had no stars or all those types of issues. So to score that deal, it was a real legitimisation of what the movie was, and, you know, that there was some type of quality to it. And also, it was great, kind of, thirdly, just to get people's eyeballs on it.
Definitely.
You know, you make these things and you want to get them out there and see people kind of enjoy it and experience it. And that was, you know, through those deals, that was the way we could do that. So, yeah, very satisfying.
Definitely. Well, Josh, to finish off, what would you like to say to everybody out there who is about to sit down and watch Crow Valley?
We hope you enjoy it. It's a movie that has all the chasing and the stabbing and the thrills, and there's also a bit in there that hopefully people will enjoy. Because I love movies that, you know, you kind of, there's that thrill ride experience to it, but there's also that part where you go, yeah, that's kind of making me think a little about, you know, my experiences in my world, and I had an emotional connection to that character. So hopefully they get all that out of it. And because, you know, movies particularly great when you have that emotional connection to it. So I just hope people enjoy the experience and have that kind of emotional enjoyment of it.